Charlie Stone, compete in the 94 kilo category. I train at Trimnasium and Shelbourne CrossFit.
Hi, my name is Nicole Talbot. I compete as an under 69 and I train at Gym 66 in Charlton.
I'm Chloe Shelbourne-Ralph. I also compete at under 69, part of University of Gloucestershire Weightlifting Club, and I train at Gym 66.
Has it given you confidence lift all round?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
And fit?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the moves, because the competition moves will be two main lifts: snatch and clean and jerk. So this would help if you're actually at the gym now, wouldn't it? So you could show. But can you just talk me through the two different lifts and what's expected of you at competition?
Well, first movement is the snatch, and that is literally taking the bar from the floor over your head in one movement. So generally people will sort of squat under it, so pull the bar up to a certain height and then squat under it. That's sort of the most accepted technique. It's very quick. I believe it's one of the fastest movements in any Olympic sports.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know, it's the first movement that I sort of really got hooked on when I sort of got into the sport. It's very difficult, and it's a really good combination of that sort of technical timing, fluidity, and just strength, really.
Yeah. And then who wants to talk to you? The next, the clean and jerk, which obviously you can lift more with a clean and jerk.
Most people could lift more for their clean and jerk, because you get a chance to recover in the middle, and it's more of a regular squat pattern as well. So most people will have the legs to stand up clean. So it's from the ground to the shoulder here, and then the second half, the jerk, is from the shoulder overhead.
Yeah.
Most people will use a split jerk where they go into what looks like a sort of lunge position, a split, and but some elite athletes or many athletes will use a bilateral movement, like both sides, and just do a power jerk where you're just driving it straight and landing with your feet straight as well.
Yeah. If you're going for a big lift, and obviously you've got to get the form right to get the judges to say it's a good lift, is there a point where you know you're going to do it, or is it quite late on that you know you've actually nailed it?
I would say that you've got to be 100% convinced the whole time, and it's not until you're under that weight that you, I don't know, sometimes you can sort of feel if you're missing a lift behind and you're going to lose it behind your head, but generally you've just got to go in with 100% commitment, and it's not until that final catch of the bar that you sort of know if you've got it or not, I'd say.
Yeah, I think where Charlie said the snatch was so addictive is because the adrenaline rush in the catch, you've got to catch it with your elbows already extended, and there's that split second where everything has to be right at the same time.
Yeah.
So it is really scary, and it does require so much conviction. All of it does.
Yeah. So do you tend to be better at one than the other with those two lifts?
Yes.
Most people
We're opposite.
Yeah, so because of, like I said before, because of how strong my legs were from rugby, my clean was much more efficient than the snatch, because just because of how strong my legs were and my ability to stand it up. But then I had the issue that if I cleaned it, I couldn't necessarily jerk it. But I think that was similar to the snatch in that my overhead movements are slightly weaker because of my confidence overhead. Not necessarily, like my upper body is definitely weaker than my lower body, but it's more the confidence of knowing that I'm going to hit that perfect position straight above my head where it's going to stabilise and it's not either going to go behind or in front.
And what's that feeling like when you do break a PB, or you get what you want in a competition? Is that an amazing adrenaline rush, I imagine?
That's what it's all for, really, I'd say. Yeah, it's a great feeling.
Yeah. And hopefully you're going to have it this weekend. Takes into the English Championships in Manchester.
Yeah.
And Charlie, I know it's your third English, isn't it? But you're second at this weight category.
Yes. Yeah.
So under 94 kilos. What are the next few days going to be like for you before you go up to Manchester?
Just try and stay quite relaxed, really. I've got to, still do a bit of coaching the last few days. Make sure that I'm on target to hit the body weight, because obviously I train a lot heavier than I actually compete. So that's always a bit tricky just to get it right. Obviously you don't want to cut too much because you'll start feeling weak. But obviously you have to hit the right weight category. And then I'll do a light session on Friday and just try and get a good night's sleep on Friday night.
Yeah. And have you got high hopes for a high finish?
If I could finish top 5, that would be great. I mean, the sort of top 3 lifters in England who have been doing it sort of over 10 years, I'd say now, they're sort of the next level up really. So if I can just get in amongst that top 5 finish, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, and Nicole, you qualified, but you've taken the decision to concentrate on the British in June. So will you be there this weekend?
I will.
Cheering on your teammates.
I'll be cheering on this little nugget. Even though we went to a competition last weekend to support another one of our gym members, and I sat there and I thought, I've got a week. I could definitely still go and do it, but it's just the right decision at the moment. Rather than making it any worse and then maybe missing out on the British as well.
Yeah.
The English is really not as important as the British. It's the biggest competition of the year, and I now know that I've got time. I've got months now to rehab my back, and as everyone keeps saying, when everything's working in perfect order, I'll have so much more strength, because obviously before I have always had that slight impingement.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I am thinking positive about it, because I just know that I want to bring a big performance at the British.
So it's your first national competition after not quite international yet, but you qualified in the Central Championships. You feeling excited, nervous, ready for it?
I'm just trying to stay excited and not get nervous, because same as Charlie, that 2 athletes in my category have competed at the World Championships last year, and 2 of them also were sort of, been through a rigorous program, having been scouted. There's loads of talent in my category, and it's a privilege to have earned a spot to even compete. So I'm just using this process leading up with the diet and water monitoring that I'm doing, and the mental practice really of it being such a big event for the British in June when I compete as under 23.
Yeah, you've already got your place there booked for
Yeah,
the summer.
so just practice and just try and keep my cool and enjoy it really. And my dad will be there, Nicole will be there, we'll all be supporting each other, so it should be really great.
Yeah,
It's important to practice competitions as well, because it's all very well being able to lift well in the gym when you can have as many attempts as you want, or maybe have another go and wait for the conditions to be perfect, but you get 3 attempts in competition, and if you don't get any of those, then you're out.
Yeah.
So it's good to practice competitions.
There's that saying, isn't there, about when you're going for a PB in the gym and it takes you 12 attempts, but in competition you only get 3. So
Funding wise, is there a big effort to increase particularly the women's side of it? Is that growing as a result of our athletes' achievements in the recent Olympics and things like that? Is there money being put into the sport, or is there just nothing really there?
There is
really top level.
Yeah, there is money for female athletes. They've cut all funding to males.
Fortunately.
Yeah, and they are trying to increase the number of females, but British weightlifting as a whole, it kind of contradicts itself. Because as a sport, obviously you want it to grow, but there are certain measures that they're putting in this year in the competition calendar that it does limit the athletes that can reach elite. I mean, I don't know whether it's because of the influx of CrossFit and things like that. You've got people who are reaching the qualifying totals, but they're not necessarily technically efficient. They're not necessarily been doing it for very long, and they're reaching these totals, which means that at the national events, there's just hundreds of people that are entering that haven't the previous years. So they're increasing qualifying totals for nationals, which obviously you want. At the end of the day, the ones that are going to make elite are the ones that are lifting the most. And if you've got people that are in the same category but their totals range by 30 odd kilos, like even more, like it's not. I don't know whether that is what British weightlifting are all about. They've also introduced they have got a student competition once a year, but they've also introduced a qualifying total for that. And it's a bit unrealistic as to whether a student who started in September can compete in April and make for a male what is it, like 140 odd something, and it's just you've been lifting for say
but
6
not only
months.
that, but that a student at university level would be aware of how to qualify for an event like that. Now they've put this qualification total in place, it means you have to do a competition before to make that total. and it kind of, that was my first competition, and I really enjoyed it. But we didn't have to qualify; you could just go, and that was part of the opportunity and the fun of it, was that you could just turn up and do what you could do, and it didn't matter what you weighed or what your total was.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like.
So yeah, I suppose in terms of that, with the women, it has grown, but it's still at the end of the day is that elite top 3 maximum that will get any funding.
Yeah. And as for the male, there's no funding at all, Charlie. So what's the incentive if you want to aim for an Olympics or something? You know, at the moment you're not going to get any financial assistance.
No, there isn't. But I'm not really doing it for the financial backing. You know, it's just more of a personal thing. So. You know, as long as I can sort of support myself, then that's enough, really.
Yeah. The last couple of things I'd like to talk about is figures. What you're aiming for, what your PBs are in the 2 different lifts, and then what your ambitions are in the sport. Because you're all obviously very young still in weightlifting terms. So what sort of numbers are you hoping to lift this weekend, Charlie?
Well, my best snatching competition is 125 kilos, so I'll be looking to push that up by a few kilos, and clean and jerk is 157, so again, I'll be looking to push that up. So aiming for sort of 130, 160 at the weekend would be ideal, really.
Yeah, you've got the British to look forward to. That's obviously the biggest one of the year. So
yes.
How far do you think how far do you want to go in the sport?
As I said earlier, sort of aiming towards the numbers that would sort of qualify for Commonwealth would be the aim.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, long way to go though, just yet.
And Nicole, I know you've got your sort of tentatively sights set on 2020 Olympics if everything goes to plan. Is that your dream at the moment? Commonwealth maybe?
Yeah, so I would love to, like Charlie, qualify for the Commonwealth. I'm a little bit off at the moment, but obviously I'm going to keep working at it. I'm still new in the sport, so I've got plenty of time left. But yeah, that's the aim.
Yeah. PBs at the moment?
Currently, my snatch is 77 kilos, and my clean and jerk is 100.
So, I mean, you love the sport and you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
How far do you want to,
I just want to get as strong as I possibly can in order for my numbers to creep up. I feel like there's definitely a lot of room to improve, but at the moment, every day I sit at my capacity. But I'm happy. I'm performing as well as I can do. At the English, I want to hit probably the same numbers or more as I did to qualify, but just better executed. A couple of them, one of them was a no lift for a little elbow, straight, and then I let it go again. They're just little things like that, just being really precise and getting it down on the day.
Yeah.
And then I'll be really happy.
And what are your PBs at the moment?
Snatch is 65 and clean and jerk is 78. I should have 80 by now, but mind, legs, it could be anything. All of it has to come together at the same time.
What's the first thing you do after the competition?
Eat.
Do you have a celebratory meal? Just because
Depends how it's gone, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, some eating probably goes. Eating and drinking, a few beers.
Yeah. Deserved. Yeah. Well, good luck at the weekend. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a very interesting chat.